Hello, you beautiful people out there. What is going on? This is your friend Britik coming at you fast with some Paragon gameplay. And for those of you who did watch my 2-year anniversary Paragon video, yes, it's the same gameplay because waiting in queue for an hour is not something I have time to do. But today we are going to be talking about everything that we found out from our interview with Visionary Games on Project Phoenix Rising, everything that really stood out to me and that you should know. I will link the full interview in the description, and also you can click on it at the end of the video to be taken straight to that video and that page. But let's just talk about the big and important stuff, okay? So, what do we know? Well, let's start with the general stuff, okay? I didn't ask this question in the interview, so you guys get this freebie. I went back into Discord and asked Brandon, who is the director, you know, the lead, the master dev, one of the master devs, and he let me know that it will be free to play and not pay to win. So he talked to me a little bit. He said that, you know, they're still coming up with a business model, but it's going to be like a MOBA, obviously free to play, and you can buy skins and cosmetics and stuff like that. So that's good to hear. A lot of people have been asking me about that. There you go. All right, next, what did we actually find out from the interview? Okay, well, first things first, I thought this was pretty neat. As of right now, there are 70 people in Visionary Games, all who have played Paragon and other MOBAs. For the most part that I know of, at least. Everybody that I interviewed has played Paragon. They might have a few people that are just really good at what they do. Maybe they're really good, for example, in the audio department, but they don't play Paragon. But for the most part, that's at least what Visionary Games has advertised as, you know, this group of Paragon players that are also talented in these regards and are coming together to make this game. All right, cool. Another thing, 1 month of development has been completed. So they've only been working on this for a little bit over a month, right? Actually working on like maybe 5 weeks, right? So they made a pretty good amount of progress in 5 weeks, if you ask me. I mean, if you guys saw the tech demo, the art demo, like, they're putting in work. They're doing as much as they can, and they're not doing this for a full-time job, okay? This is all on their free time. They all have their lives. They all have jobs, because obviously this is too much of an entrepreneurship to go and just risk everything and just to drop everything and focus on this, because it takes a while to make video games. So they still have to go on their daily lives, and everybody's just volunteering their time. So the fact that, you know, everything that I just said amounts to 5 months, or 5 weeks, and a little bit over a month to what they show, that's pretty damn impressive. They can already run servers and clients locally, and they can support 5v5, just like you guys saw from the tech demo. There's going to be 25 heroes about at full launch, which means, you know, not closed beta, not alpha, but launch, right? Whatever that date is. Of course, it's way too early for them to give me a date, so obviously don't expect it this year. Maybe not even until late next year we might see something. So be very open-minded and patient about that. Now, 25 heroes, that's pretty neat. Okay, that's pretty cool. I think Paragon wanted to have 39 at launch. That was their max goal, but obviously that never happened. 25 heroes at launch, that would be pretty neat as well. They've already have concepts and are working on 4 to 5 of the heroes, one of them being, you know, that art model that we saw in their art video. And that's what they told me, at least in the interview, is that they're gonna go, and maybe if they're gonna have a beta, they might just have 5 characters, and you'll just be doing mirror matches, like starting off, you know, in the closed alpha, or whatever their first stage of play testing would be for the public and stuff like that. So nonetheless, really cool, really neat. As long as the characters are really fleshed out, you don't need too many, right? As long as the characters feel unique and they have their own styles and they feel good, then that's all that really matters. And now one more thing I want to say is that even though they said this in their interview, I just want to stress this one more time, that there will be no Paragon assets used, no coding, no map, no nothing at all. It is very loosely a spiritual successor. It'll take some inspiration from Paragon, as it is taking inspiration from other MOBAs like League and Dota, and it's gonna maybe feel like Paragon because it's also gonna be in an Unreal Engine 4, and that's what they said, that's the most similarities that it has, is just the fact that it's gonna be a Z-axis game, so you can, you know, look up and down and jump up and down as well. There's gonna be a lot of verticality, but that's about it. Other than that, well, for example, the item system is something that has been heavily influenced by Paragon Legacy days, but other than that, it is still unclear of what's going to happen and what's going to stay by the end product. So again, understand, guys, that this is like super early. Like, the baby is still in the womb here. Like, we're not even, it's not even in the second trimester yet, okay? Like, everything that I'm talking about here, it's all subject to change, okay? So keep that in mind. This is just more of a summary of my interview than anything else. But let's move on to some other stuff. So that's some general stuff that I found important. And I wanted to touch up on lore real quick. So they couldn't say much about lore. Obviously, it's way too early for any lore to be constructed. They have to make the characters first and everything. But there is obviously work going on in the lore, and lore is very important to Visionary Games. It is super important, and they said that it might come, you know, in the form of character bios. It might come in the form of in-game queues of sorts. It might come as maybe a reward for reaching a certain level with a master. So just like in Paragon, you had heroes, right? Murdoch is a hero, Bellica is a hero. All of these characters, instead of calling champions like League does, we call them heroes. In this game, in Phoenix Rising, whatever it's going to end up being called, they're called masters, okay? So that's what I'm going to start calling them as well. Just get into the groove of things, get into the terminology of things, these masters. So every master is going to have a rank up sequence or a leveling system, just like in every other MOBA. They're not exactly sure what the rewards would be, most likely cosmetics, just like Paragon did. But then when talking to the one of the guys over at Lore, he said we could probably also add in maybe like an extra page of lore once you get to a certain level with a master. So that's pretty cool. Now let's talk about some fun stuff. The map. Okay, so the map, it's smaller than Legacy and greater than Monolith. Okay, so it's a little bit smaller than Legacy and a little bit bigger than Monolith. It's going to be right there in the middle, right in the sweet spot. We talked about this a little bit with the guy who's designing environmental art, and we just, you know, he said that it's obviously it's still very early, and that the travel time is going to be somewhere in between the travel time between Legacy and Monolith. So like I said, there's going to be a lot of verticality, so the jungle is also going to be pretty vertical. Like they said, that they talked about, they wanted to feel like Legacy. Legacy jungle was really nice, and also it's going to have like this, it's going to have a lush roof to the jungle, right? There's going to be a lot of foliage covering it. There's going to be a canopy that's covering the jungle. It's not going to be kind of barren like Monolith's was. It's going to follow suit in Legacy in a lot of different ways. So another thing that was really interesting to note is that there are some unique mechanics that they have not talked about yet. All right, they teased. I asked, will there be similar stuff like Orb Prime or Harvesters? And they said, there might be. Okay, there's some pretty cool stuff in the work. So that's all we got. So maybe, you know, that little bit of a tease. Maybe we will see something unique that's going to be really, really cool. And I asked them, I actually asked Brandon, you know, is there going to be travel mode? And he said, that's a good question, end quote. so again, no, not really sure on that. Maybe they're not too sure on it either, but that's what I got for that response right now. I will stay updated with this group, of course, and we'll make some update videos in the future. Now let's talk about heroes. So heroes, right? A big problem with Paragon, I think, that I saw a lot of people complain about was that there was a lack of diversity in heroes, right? Oh, all heroes' lives matter. And there was just a lot of human type figures, right? Like we had Grux, we had Rampage, but those were the starting kind of heroes. The heroes that started coming out a bit later on, you know, we had Yin and Seraph, and we had Drongo, and who else was really humanoid-esque that was like, whatever, like, I mean, I guess, okay, we had Shimby, we had Bellica, like, there's just a lot of humans, right? A lot of humans, which isn't that bad, but at the same time, people wanted robots, and they wanted monsters, and they wanted beasts, and so I asked them about that, and they said, yeah, we're gonna have a large variety of that. It's gonna be sci-fi theme-esque, for the most part, just like Paragon was, and we're gonna have a large variety of character models, which is awesome. Here's another big thing, passive abilities confirmed. Okay, I asked this question straight up on the interview, and Brandon, the master developer himself, was talking about, yeah, like we're talking about passive abilities, and I'm like, yes, I love passive abilities. Great. They are taking a lot of inspirations from all sorts of MOBAs, right? They're taking inspirations from all sorts of MOBAs, not just Paragon, so that's also another important thing, especially when it comes to the heroes. They said that if there's any overlap, it's not because it's a direct ripoff of any heroes. That's just how MOBAs work. It may or may not happen. And voice lines may or may not be a thing once you get down to it. So obviously it's way too early for that as well. It's too early for a lot of things, but this is all the juicy stuff that I came up with from the interview. You guys can watch the whole video yourselves. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, drop a like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you have not already. And as always, make sure to have a wonderful day. Peace.